then, of course, moving along to, of course, Pat Benatar here, I
Yes.
wanted to ask on this record here about the opening track, "Shadows of the Night," which I think is probably my favorite song from Pat and yourself.
Mhm.
I remember hearing it for the first time when I was younger in Grand
Mhm.
Theft Auto, and I've always
Mm.
liked it since then.
Mhm.
But yeah, I was wondering how did that track make its way to you guys?
Well, the chorus was great. I can't think of his name. I can't Byron. I can't remember who wrote it. Blink. But he had a great chorus. When you hear the chorus, same thing. That's a great chorus. That's a hit. But the verses weren't very good. Lyrically, they weren't good at all. They had moments that were they sound like they could be, but the person that wrote it was so influenced by Bruce Springsteen that it was way too much, in my opinion. So we had to rewrite the words and change the melody to the verse and changed it up some. But the chorus was so strong that again, that's the same thing. You knew, I knew, we all knew that song's a hit record. If you can get the lyrics to be right in the verse and get the correct melody for the verse, you have something, right?
Hmm.
And the only other thing I'll add to that is that because you are a guitar player and you can understand this, is that the intro uh, I had was real bad. It was just ding 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 bang bang. Right? I didn't like that. And if you notice, most of the songs that I work on, intros are very important. So when you hear the intro, you know exactly what the song is. So all my intros are always really like, here you go, you're going to hear this. And then this is more spoken of in my book that I'm writing, but the background vocals, there's a lot of background vocals. So when the engineer, co-producer's in there and he's blending those vocals for a chorus, I heard it down the hall. I was getting a cup of tea. I heard it down the hall. I says, holy shit, that's my intro. And I come running in. I go, we're going to fly that in. We're going to put those vocals in. So after those are done, that chorus, we're going to go ba-boom. And here we are in the song. So that's how that
Yeah.
was developed. So.
Awesome. Yeah. And kind of talking, of course, about the guitar on that
Mhm.
track, I find it interesting because the guitar solo is a bit sort of atypical of
Mhm.
like when you think of like 80s guitar solos, it's a lot of, like busy playing and fast stuff. But that's an interesting solo because it's quite sparse with few notes basically.
Yeah.
So what was your mindset going into the solo on that track?
Yeah, that was an anti-solo, basically. I
Yeah.
just didn't, I what I did is I used a Roland, J120, I think it was, and it has a sort of a real compressed sound to it, and, I just wanted to create an emotion of, this girl that's wandering the streets, you can't find her, you can't help her, you can't protect her, she's running through these shadows in the night, sort of poetic, and I'm thinking, what would you feel if you were trying to find this person and it was your love and this is troublesome. That's what I did. I just wanted to just make the guitar have a certain emotion and that it's so stumbling. It sounds like you're stumbling, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, the record
Yeah.
company hated it. And most people probably didn't like it, but I think it fit for the song pretty well.
Oh,
So
for sure. Yeah.
yeah.
And it's also that song has a really cool music video as well. It's like it's set in World War II, and I always sort of love those music videos that like kind of feel like an action movie in a way. So what was it like to shoot that?
I hated it.
Oh,
I,
really?
I didn't like it because I didn't like videos like that.
Mm.
And it didn't go well in Germany too, and they loved the song and they loved that. I mean, it was just, uh, it 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 was, not that it's wrong, and everybody has an opinion. You liked it, that's fantastic. But for as a person that creates or makes these records, it's like reading a book, right? So if you read a book, you have your own image of what your characters are, right? You see the film, and all of a sudden they go, "Well, it's not as good as the book." So what it does is it every time you hear that song, you're immediately going to go to that video. That
Hmm.
that that's to me is a distraction. Stay in the book, basically.
I
Just
gotcha.
my own opinion. Everybody else had a fun time, but me, I can't be shooting a video for 12 hours. I could be doing a lot better things for myself. So
Yeah, I understand what you mean. I mean, I know that like Pearl Jam, they stopped doing videos in the 90s because of that. Like they were like, they didn't want you to have a specific image, in
Of
mind
course.
or whatever. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I
especially
understand
like
that.
that. Yeah, so
Mhm. And, you know, kind of keeping on videos, of course, you guys
mhm,
were no stranger to it. Obviously, you
mhm,
had the second video ever played on MTV,
mhm.
with "You Better Run," and I wanted to ask quickly, like, did you guys know that that was going to be the second video on MTV?
No, had no idea. No.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
and
just happened that way.
gotcha, yeah. And then another song with a well-known video was, of course, "Love Is a Battlefield" off of the Live from Earth album.
Right,
And that song is famously like a change in direction from the guitar-driven songs into sort of a synth pop direction. And I was kind of curious about the production of that song because, like, nowadays it's easier to build a track like that with, digital technology,
right.
programming drums and all that stuff is much, much more straightforward today. But of course, back
Yes.
then, you're still recording on tape. A drum machine is like a big physical piece of hardware and everything. So yeah, how did you kind of put that track together at that time?
Sure. So I wanted it was a very melancholy song, very, very, very slow, really slow, but a
Hmm.
very good melody, interesting lyrics, and it was working really. It's as a song, it was solid, very solid. But I never heard it like that, and it didn't have enough to give Patricia any way to kind of really go at it. So what I wanted to do is crossbreed some different genres, right? So the Bo Diddley beat, which is a famous beat that going to go, we're going to go,
Hmm.
works everywhere. I said, well, maybe I could do something really wacky with this. But then what I do also is I have a I don't know if it's a curse or a blessing or not, but when I hear a song, whether I write it or I take something else and I arrange and produce it, I hear it finished, completed. Well, I heard that with Battlefield. And I just said, I want to speed this thing up. I bought a Lindrum. It was the first day I had the Lindrum. I started hitting buttons on it, creating all this crazy rhythm and friction. And then how could I make that work? And I made a mistake. I hit the button instead of I wanted to stop the machine. It was an 8-bar phrase. I hit it and took two measures off, so it became a 6-bar phrase, which means the kick drum never falls in the same spot ever,
Hmm.
which is very odd. So I kept it because I really liked it was a static. It's a static performance by that drum machine, but it really established a certain kind of sound that nobody was doing. Right. Uh, Prince did it with when Doves Cry. It was fantastic using a Lindrum like that. So I was just using it to create that kind of wacky rhythm, and uh, I didn't want a guitar to be too much focus. I wanted more slinky. That's why those all the internal slinky kind of bends and little 3-note chords, some keyboards, and then just to make it layered and yeah, I was having fun. I was just doing it too to have fun, like the whistling in it, the talking in it, some of the like Motown records, like the Supremes,
Yep.
and I just
Yep.
wanted to get something, a thing for Patricia to kind of bite into. So that's why "We Are Young" comes off strong as that's it.
Yeah.
You're making a statement, right? So yeah, I mean, most people didn't like it at first, but then everybody loved it because they
Yeah.
get used to it. They get used to it. They
Exactly.
loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, it's a very keyboard heavy track. And it was interesting because, getting prepared for this interview, I didn't realize that Charlie Giordano
Mhm.
was your keyboard player back then. I'm a huge Bruce Springsteen fan. So I was kind of like, oh, wow, I didn't know that's where he got his start. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, Charlie. Charlie is one of the greatest keyboard players. Piano, phenomenal piano player. Great. He takes a really tough edge to him when he plays the keyboards and synths, and he plays great button box, accordion and stuff. Very, very talented. Great guy. He was a
Yeah,
great addition for the band. I liked having him there.
absolutely. Yeah.